So yes, hello and welcome to, is it Cinema Classica? Is it literary loitering? We don't know because we haven't worked out this feature properly yet, but we'll get a definite answer to you before the end of the show. This is the Literary Loitering Takeover. We are celebrating Shrove Tuesday by flipping all of our formats. And I'm Graham, and this week I've been joined by Rob.
Oh, was I supposed to answer that? I thought because we were flipping everything over, Andrew was going to answer for me.
Yes. This is a showcase for what our sister podcast is like. And so far, I think listeners are getting far too clear a picture of what that might be.
I thought because we were flipping everything over, someone else was going to answer for me and I was going to answer for them.
Why would I? What kind of monster would do that, though? Rob.
Yes. Present.
Yeah, good, well done. Okay. Sarah.
Hello.
And Andrew.
So, am I only allowed to talk about, like, superhero films, but if there was some kind of book? Possibly of images?
Andrew, you are, as we discussed before, filling the relevant role that you have on Literary Loitering as the person who hasn't done the required reading.
Yes, that fun character that I like to play.
Well, listeners, we have a pretty regular shape for the show on Literary Loitering, and it's quite different from Cinema Classica. We like to start off with a bit of news. And we tried to do news on Cinema Classica ages ago, but it got a bit serious. What I think would liven up in the film news section is if the news stories were discussed by people who had absolutely no stake in cinema as an art form.
But Graham, where will you find people like that?
Yes, well, part of the reason why we do it on Literary Loitering too is also that books and arts news is always incredibly stupid, and film news is often quite sombre, but fortunately we're in the middle of awards season, so there is loads of idiocy to go around.
Oh, God, yes. Award season is... I think it's that time of the year when all the filmmakers and the actors and the actresses just kind of get together and go, hey, no one's watching us now.
Yes. And if the ratings for the last decade of Oscar telecasts are anything to go by, they're not.
Exactly.
But because we'd like to record Literary Loitering in advance, we are doing this before the Oscars. We will have discussed the Oscars on Cinema Classica before you listen to this, which is crazy, I know.
Can I make a prediction for the Oscar?
Go on.
Right. I reckon that white men are going to win the majority of Oscars, and
Best Actress.
And a white woman will probably win Best Actress, but it will generally be white people across the board.
I think that's
a fair assessment.
That's a pretty safe prediction this year, yes.
I predict that 1917 is going to win Best Picture.
Oh.
Because that's a film that I remember is up for Best Picture.
and not Joker.
No, not Joker. Never Joker.
Not even Joaquin Phoenix and his weird dance.
I do love Joker being in the Academy Awards, just as it's so clearly desperately a room full of old white men going, so many people like the superhero thing now. Is this one of them? Is this a good one?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. It's a bit like Martin Scorsese. We like him.
Exactly.
I mean, I enjoyed Joker, but the reception it's got at award ceremonies has given me traumatic flashbacks like 20 years ago, where every middle-aged white guy was sort of saying to me, "Oh, have you heard this chap Eminem? He does stuff where you sort of talk over the music, and he's rather good at it, you know."
He's invented rap.
In the same way that Tiger Woods invented golf. And Denny's waitresses.
But if you wanted any reason to have less faith in the Oscars, and I know we're always looking, the Hollywood Reporter does an annual feature where an anonymous Oscar voter explains why he voted the way he did. And I say he because at the start of this piece, it does specify that this is a male Academy member, though, to be honest, you're going to be able to predict that.
Can I just say, can I just say, when you describe them as a male Academy member, it just makes them sound like a knob.
Other things that are going to make this guy sound like a knob include... He talks about his predictions for Best Picture. He says that he found the timeline in Little Women too complicated to follow.
What?
Oh my God.
Well,
Is the guy senile?
having read Little Women and watched various adaptations, including the anime adaptation of Little Women, I failed to understand how the timeline could be, squiffy. And it's not like Einstein wrote the screenplay.
No. In Greta Gerwig's version, there is a conceit where it starts in the middle of Olcott's books and flashes back. What you need to remember going in is that the present-day settings have a sort of bluish tint, and the flashbacks have a kind of orangey tint. Or, alternatively, you could just look at the characters, what they're doing, where they are in their life, and try and think...
I mean, it's using that famous cinema technique of casting different times in different colours. Surely a member of the Academy would know this.
I mean, I briefly...
Imagine if you showed Memento to this guy.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he turns black and white at some point. What is he doing there?
Oh, what about Hero? Where you have 4 different sequences that are predominantly in 4 different colours.
Or what about handing him a copy of The Very Hungry Caterpillar and seeing if he can get to grips with that? There is a brief moment of hope where he says he didn't enjoy Marriage Story because he thought the characters were too privileged. A moment of hope which is immediately undercut by the fact that, like, literally all of the choices he makes for all of the other categories are Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because he works in Hollywood and he can relate to that.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That Tarantino one.
The Tarantino one, yeah.
Okay.
Which I liked, but I want to hate just to spite this guy.
I mean, wasn't Once Upon a Time in Hollywood mainly Brad Pitt and who else was in it? DiCaprio?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wasn't it mainly them watching a TV of DiCaprio's old roles and commenting about that?
Like I say, it's just something this guy can relate to.
Well, I think the laundromat should win because I went to a laundrette once, so...
Yes.
Was it a beautiful laundrette?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty fancy.
Excellent.
And again, I think 1917 should win because up until at least this point in my life, I've not had a single camera edit.
It's all one very long take.
There's so much vanity and idiocy in this piece that it's breathtaking. I mean, the best documentary feature where you're basically asking this guy to relate to a lot of films about war zones, so buckle up. He says he can't remember whether he's watched For Summer or not.
For what?
He can't remember.
For Summer, which is a film about the Syrian civil war, which, trust me, if you've seen it, you'll remember it.
You're going to remember it, aren't you?
Oh, okay. No, it's just I wasn't sure about the title because it was like a portmanteau of Fort Osama. I thought it might have something to do with Al Qaeda.
Right. I didn't think it was Bruce Forsyth and Osama bin Laden's couple name. There's this amazing bit where he talks about The Edge of Democracy, a film about political corruption in Brazil that brought Bolsonaro to power, where he says, "I loved it, it was powerful, but we Americans are now the ones who are living it." Yeah, shut up, Brazil. God.
I can relate to it because it's happening to me.
If only it had been about corruption in Brazil that led to an aging cowboy actor doing something. So yeah, this is awful, and if we awake to an Oscar result where, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has won Best Animated Short, it's because of this douche.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like films about, isn't Hollywood great? That's scratching a lot of Oscar bellies, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
I remember when Argo won, and I saw someone comment that Ben Affleck has managed to make a movie about conflict in the Middle East that is also about Hollywood people sorting everything out. Said, look out for that guy. He's worked out how to do the Oscars on cheat mode.
Yep.
So, of course, one of the most unbearable rituals of award season is being reminded that Ricky Gervais exists.
Do you have to?
What are you going to say there, Rob?
I said, do you have to?
One of the features of his recent Golden Globes ego stroke was that he said that Amazon, Hulu, and several other streaming services were morally equivalent to ISIS. He didn't say that about Netflix, which I assume is because Netflix are a morally upstanding company and not because they've just given him 60 million to tell the attack helicopter joke over and over again.
What? They're like ISIS?
It wasn't a great analogy.
What? Ricky Gervais telling a joke that's a bit toss. That's shock.
Has he reached a stage of his life where he just enters the room groin first because, hey, I'm Ricky Gervais?
Yes, but the ongoing, what would you call this, divorced dadization of Ricky Gervais? The Lawrence Foxification process, whatever you call it.
I don't like to call it Brenticizing. As he just morphs further and further into literally being David Brent.
Yes.
Yeah, he hasn't had enough of... what's her name? He hasn't had enough... plastic surgery done to be Joan Rivers yet.
But yes, after that, let's just have this coincidentally positioned story about really awful, unethical stuff that Netflix has done, shall we?
Which is a lot, surprisingly.
According to Variety, Netflix has just revealed for the first time the movies and TV shows it has pulled from streaming services at the behest of global governments. And this became news when they canned an episode of Patriot Act with Hassan Minhaj after the Saudi government asked them to do it. So, yes.
Well, it was still available in our country.
It was, yes. They tend to be very localized bans.
Yeah.
For example, several films that satirize Christianity have been taken down from Brazil as Netflix. The Last Temptation of Christ is still banned in Singapore. They're riding that 80s retro train. Full Metal Jacket was pulled from Vietnamese Netflix, which is one of the ones where you sort of think, I can kind of see why that would be a bit unpopular.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not just because it's not that good a film.
Oh, I like Good Morning Vietnam.
But Full Metal Jacket is great.
Did you say Full Metal Jacket?
Yes.
I did say
I'm so sorry.
I was very confused.
I really like Full Metal Jacket as well.
That's why all
Hang
of us froze there.
I
Like,
Vincent D'Onofrio, so.
Did I say Good Morning Vietnam?
no, you said Full Metal Jacket.
Oh,
my
good.
God. Oh, dear.
Okay.
It's happening, guys. This is a sign.
This is what literary loitering actually goes like.
But also, here is my thing about Full Metal Jacket.
Mm,
And it's the question that I will ask any Full Metal Jacket fan.
go on.
Tell me an event that happens in the second half of that film.
There's a Vietnamese woman firing a
Yes.
machine gun in slow motion. That's the only thing I remember from the second half.
They find the sniper. It's a woman. They decapitate her, don't they? Yeah, they kill the female sniper, and then they suffer the incredible ordeal of ending up in London's docklands.
Yep.
See, I assume that's a joke about the second half of Full Metal Jacket. But again, I do not like Vincent D'Onofrio kills himself, and then that's the end of the film.
Yeah.
And then
True.
yeah.
The first half is tons better. The weirdest one is a request from Germany. And you might think, I can sort of imagine what Germany might ban. They do have restrictions on, say, Nazi regalia and things like that. Yeah. And we can all understand that. They have asked for the German Commission for Youth Protection, which is abbreviated to KJM because German is a hell of a language, asked for them to ban George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
What?
Why?
Apparently, it's still banned in Germany.
I think I understand this one. Germany has Germany has a ban on certain types of media, and anything related to zombies is generally a subject to that ban. So in Germany, you can't really buy copies of Resident Evil and games like that.
Really?
Really? They've got an anti-zombie policy.
Well, I wouldn't say it was anti-zombie. I think it's just. I think it's. It's not that you can't buy copies of Resident Evil per se. It's just it's heavily censored.
Wow.
So racist.
It's so heavily censored. They've got rid of the zombies. It's just people shooting at a wall.
Wait, so what you're saying is Angela Merkel is personally responsible for the fact that Santa Clarita Diet didn't get another season.
Yes, that's definitely the case. I don't feel bad about saying that because I know that lying about the inner workings of major EU member states gets you elected Prime Minister these days.
Apparently.
But that's enough. That's enough from this year's Oscar season. Let's look ahead to next year. What might be up at the Oscars and the BAFTAs and the like next year? Well, we've got a hint with the fact that Universal has begun development on a movie musical based on the Monster Mash.
On the song,
The Monster Mash.
Yes.
It was a graveyard smash.
Hang on, is this going to be one of those films where they look at something and go, that gives me an idea? So it'll be like they looked at the video game Rampage and thought, we can make a film starring The Rock.
Yes, yeah.
Flash.
And that was the most acclaimed video game adaptation of all time, wasn't it? In that a few people thought, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, I guess. Like, there are people who have not immediately tried to burn all traces of it away in a mighty inferno. So yeah, well done, Rampage.
Yeah.
I think it's that then coming in at number 2 is like the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider movie, where people's main reaction is, oh yeah, that happened.
It's a testament to how low the bar is that not only is the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider movie getting a sequel, it's getting a sequel directed by Ben Wheatley.
Blimey.
I think we might have to face the prospect as a society that one of these things might be good one day.
Is it just like this one Hollywood producer whose family won't be saved from the curse unless he finally makes a good Tomb Raider movie.
Maybe. But this Universal Monster Mash movie, I mentioned that it's Universal because, of course, Universal have spent quite a lot of time trying to reboot their classic monsters.
So is this going to be part of the Dark Universe?
God, I hope so!
Is it going to be a dance-off between, like, Tom Cruise's The Mummy and Russell Crowe's? Was he Dr. Jekyll? I think he was Dr. Jekyll, wasn't he?
Oh, God. So the Mummy is going to do, like, some weird Harlem Shuffle type thing. And you're going to have, in the background, you're going to have somebody reprising Michael J. Fox's role as Teen Wolf, doing the Big Bad Wolf dance from there.
And Russell Crowe could sing as well.
Yes, he could.
That's always a recipe for box office gold. The Monster Mash briefly mentions that Dracula came along to do the Monster Mash with his son too. So once the original actors age out, you can have a second generation in there. This sounds like a better and better idea the drunker I get. So yes, the Monster Mash film, another completely insane thing that has just been greenlit again in the musical vein. I want to say...
Wait. Just before we do, Timothy Chalamet as Son of Dracula.
That works, yeah.
That's
also, before we move on, I just want to, because this Monster Mash movie, there was a weird, I think it was late 80s, early 90s, weird Monster Mash type movie called The Monster Squad. I don't know if anyone remembers it.
Yes, yeah.
Where you had the mummy and you had the werewolf and you had Dracula and his vampire princesses and everything. And there was the transformation sequence for the werewolf in the telephone booth where he's talking to the police officer saying, "He's gonna kill your son," while he's transforming into a werewolf.
Yeah, that's vividly remembered. I think Chalamet would be great in a musical because, as anyone who's seen Little Women will know, he cannot walk across a room without prancing.
This is
It's true. He is a prancer.
This is true, and also when you said his name, I thought you said Charlemagne.
So did I.
I was thinking, when did Charlemagne resurrect and become an actor?
No, Charlemagne is mentioned in the lyrics to the Monster Mash. That's the connection. But yeah, apparently someone, because Hollywood is a goldmine of fresh new ideas, is making a new movie based on Cinderella.
Oh, good.
Don't they always make a new movie based on Cinderella?
Stop punishing women in this manner, for God's sake.
Can we use that manner over there then?
Clear animal manner.
So, I mean, the recent Disney Cinderella, directed by Kenneth Branagh, starring Lily James, and a corset that made Lily James's waist roughly the diameter of a wasp, was a pretty big hit. So any new version of Cinderella has to kind of bring out the big guns, and they're definitely guns.
Hang on, are we talking? Is this some weird version of Cinderella where The Rock is playing Cinderella?
Oh, that would be far less stupid than what we're guessing. Cinderella will be played by Camilla Cabello.
Okay.
The pop star?
Yes.
Okay.
The prince's mother will be played by Minnie Driver. It's been a while since you thought about Minnie Driver, hasn't it? Well,
Yeah.
Here she is.
I like Minnie Driver.
I like Minnie Driver.
I like Minnie Driver.
Andrew, have you got any firm opinions on Minnie Driver?
I mean, God, as the head judge, it is all in my hands, isn't it?
Yes, you are the Shirley Ballas of literary loitering.
But yeah, Minnie Driver can go through to the next round.
The footmen will be played by, in the manner of these things, a series of slumming it British comedians, which I must warn you ahead of time includes James Corden.
Oh.
Is he in
also...
some sort of a catsuit?
Please don't.
It's too soon.
Sorry for traumatizing you all there.
It will also include Romesh Ranganathan because
How did they convince him to do that?
I don't know.
I've never seen him do such a thing before.
I would assume it's large quantities of money.
Oh yes, it's that Jack D. Boddington. Was it Boddington's or John Smith's
John
advert
Smith's, yes. I mean, Romesh Ranganathan has got kids who I assume he produced solely so he could have an excuse to do this.
Do some, yeah.
Does he need an excuse?
I'm trying to find some information on. Oh, it's going to be directed by Kay Cannon, who wrote some of the Pitch Perfect films and directed Blockers, which I hear is a lot better than you'd think. And one admittedly quite brilliant piece of casting in the middle of this absolute madness. The town crier will be played by Missy Elliott.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah. I think that's a very inspired piece of casting there.
Yes.
that Missy Elliott as the town crier. If Missy Elliott was the town crier in any town in this country, I would live there.
Yeah, completely.
I mean, so what's the idea that someone just said, "Oh, we should do a movie where Missy Elliott is a town crier,"
and then they assemble the film around it.
Yeah.
Just everything else can be whatever, as long as we've got that Missy Elliott as the town crier. That's locked down.
Yeah,
that's gold.
So, final bit of news before we move on to some stuff we've watched recently in an exciting new feature we call Some Stuff We've Watched Recently. There's a hot new 60 frames per second 4K reissue of a cinema classic coming out. And that cinema classic is, well, what do you think it would be? What would get that treatment?
60 frames per second?
4K.
So many frames, Ang Lee is ejaculating as we speak.
Is it The Wizard of Oz?
Good guess, it's not.
Nosferatu. It requires 60 frames a second.
What's the value of 60 frames a second?
There isn't any. Next question.
Your eyes gonna. It's this age-old thing in video games, right? Everyone keeps going for sharper graphics and higher resolution and stuff like that. You're like, your eyes only work up to a certain point, and then
yes.
then it's pointless.
Walter Murch, the greatest editor who ever lived, arguably, did experiments on this in the 70s and found out that once you get up to about the 60, 70 frames per second level, no one can tell any difference.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And you've got people making mobile phones with like 90, 120 hertz refresh rate. You're like,
such a scam.
Don't need anything like that.
Is it Weekend at Bernie's?
Oh, I would pay. I would pay good money to see a 60 frame per second version of that. Especially as Rob and I, when we did the last geek show, which is on YouTube.
Corporate Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah. We actually came up with this idea for a stealth game where you basically have to fool everyone into thinking the person is actually still alive. So the person's dead, but you have to control them in different ways with like all sorts of props and stuff, and make everyone think he's still alive.
Like the remote-controlled corpse in the day-to-day.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Justice.
Justice.
Shall I reveal what it is?
Yes.
Since we wanted a bit off the topic.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is now can't be as good as what we've suggested, so...
It's Arrival of a Train at the Station.
Oh, bless them. Oh, that's cute, though.
But the thing is, the effect is kind of worn off. No one's going to run out of the cinema screaming, are they?
I mean, you say that, but have you seen it in 4K?
No, maybe it retains its effect then.
Is this actually an elaborate plan by, like, all the movements that just want to scrap the Oscars, that we're going to get the whole Oscars committee sitting down on the train track and say, no, it's a brand new 4K experience.
See, I don't think I could watch that without thinking, because I was watching a lot of QI recently, and there was an episode with Aisling B on, and she was talking about, they were talking about the loudest sound ever made by a human, and she's talking about the beginning of that film about a humble stripper called Magic Mike, where the guy slides along the catwalk towards the camera, and it's like his crotch is coming towards the viewer, like the train, the train arriving at the station.
Yes. Tragically, that film was released before 4DX became a thing.
But can you imagine the 4DX version of watching the beginning of Magic Mike?
Those hoses would just be like breaking from overuse. Just constant jets coming at you.
But yes, a chap called Denis Shirayev has used machine learning to fill in frames within Arrival of a Train at the Station, which, here's the thing, nobody seems to quite know how many frames per second it was originally shot in, because in the silent era, there wasn't a standardized rate for this kind of thing.
No, it was manual, wasn't it? It wasn't motorized then.
And it's why sometimes when you see silent movies, they look kind of weird and speeded up.
Like they're all on speed.
Yeah, because afterwards everyone just assumed, they must have been intending to go for 24 frames per second and played them at that, whereas in fact that wasn't what they were intended to be shown at all. So it has been upgraded to 60 frames a second now. I have watched it and I must say I rather like it.
Oh. Is it available?
It's available online. A lot of the news stories that have covered this have a link to it, and it is remarkable how real and immediate it looks.
Okay.
Cool.
So, shall we have a bit of a daft chat, lads, about what movies we've seen recently?
Are we not including Sarah in this?
Am I a token lad?
I think you are. Yeah, I go for an inclusive definition of lads.
Okay.
Cheers.
Just thought I'd check.
So no one's seen anything then, I think.
I'm trying to think of one film I've seen lately.
Oh, okay, look, I might have got slightly distracted trying to load a video of a train arriving at a station.
Fair enough, I'll give everyone a minute to watch that. Literally a minute, since that's how long it is. Also gives me a chance to load the appropriate week's releases.
I have a film that I watched recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. It's actually an anime film. But, yeah. Frog in my throat. It could be a dance or a song. Anyway, yeah. I watched a film recently, an animated film, which, weirdly, it's one of those films where it didn't really do well when it first appeared and nobody really understood what it was about. And then it basically, it basically got a following as time went on.
Yeah.
It's called Maquia, Where the Promised Flower Blooms.
Right.
Right. And it's a bit of a strange film because the writer and the director is a Japanese lady called Mari Okada. And Mari Okada has done loads of stuff, loads of scripts and screenplays in the past, and also some manga in the past. And generally a long-running theme for her is the relationship between parent and child, in particular mother and daughter, which kind of reflects her kind of turbulent childhood with her mum. I mean, there was a time during her childhood when her mum basically attacked her with a knife. And so Maquia was one of those strange films. I've been following the career of Mari Okada as a writer and more for a long time now. One of the anime that we cover on Keyframe is called Hanasaku Iroha, which is another one of her screenplays, which again deals with the mother and daughter relationship. Kind of the mother who's not very good at being a mother, and the daughter who's a bit too good at being the daughter, kind of thing, right? But Maquia feels like the film that she was always destined to make. as she progressed along this path of telling her story. And it feels more like the catharsis of her entire career so far.
Right.
And if, it's a remarkable film. And I recommend anyone watches it. It's very emotional. It's deeply moving. It tells the story of a young girl who basically is immortal, but she wants to see the outside world. She's part of a community of higher beings who live sheltered from the rest of the world, but she wants to know what happens in the world outside. And so she runs away, and when she runs away, she finds a baby, and so she raises the baby. And so you have the parent-child thing there. But it's also about the curse of immortality as well, because immortality isn't a gift. It can start off as a gift, but it can then become a curse.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
If death becomes a tortoise, nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically. It's that whole thing with the Doctor always outliving the people you love.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So Macquarie is a remarkable film, and I highly recommend it.
Fabulous.
Cool.
There are some films which I would find a lot harder to talk about on Cinema Classica because they rely on long-standing in-jokes that we have built up on this here very show about my tastes in various things, which is a long-winded way of saying I watched that Netflix Taylor Swift documentary.
Taylor Swift news.
Yeah, it's Taylor Swift corner, Swifty watch.
Bring on the Tay-Tay.
I enjoyed it. It's strange because it's very biographically focused. The music is played in 2 short clips, I think. They're too brief, which I think is odd considering this is presumably made for people who quite like Taylor Swift's music.
Strange choice, yes.
And I think the decision to make it a sort of biographical film that goes back all through her career does sometimes pay dividends, like when you see the fairly adorable footage of her writing songs from her first album on a 12-string when she was like 13. Sometimes it feels a bit like raking over old ground, like for the Sentinelese tribe of the Pacific Ocean, who famously murder any interlopers from the outside world in order to preserve their isolated ways of life, are still aware that Taylor Swift once had a feud with Kanye West.
Oh, did she really? I was not aware of this. Please do tell me more about this feud between Swiftie and Kanye.
Yes. But mostly I enjoyed it. It made me reflect on the fact that a lot of the things that people, including myself, once upon a time, found kind of resistible about Taylor Swift, a lot of the accusations that she seemed kind of false are, in fact, a fairly genuine representation of how sort of earnest and stressed out she is. And there is a really heartbreaking bit early on where she's talking about her career, and she says, I was always guided by wanting to be seen as a good person, and now I feel like I've finally become the person other people wanted me to be. And you want to say to her, you're a millionaire, you can afford to do the odd thing for yourself.
Oh, but didn't you know that would ruin the image? The image that's carefully built up over time. And you can't be doing anything like that these days, Graham, because social media.
She talks quite a lot about how odd it is being a media figure, and there's a particularly raw bit where she talks about having an eating disorder for quite a long time because every time she saw a paparazzi picture of herself, all she could think of was that she looked fat. And it's also partly about how she's changed that image recently. There's a really sort of quite intense bit where she's discussing endorsing a candidate in her home state of Tennessee in the midterm elections. And one of her handlers says, look, I know it's important to you, but I have to buy the bulletproof glass for the cars.
Jeez.
It is quite a fascinating portrait of how intensely weird that level of celebrity is. And considering that, like I say, I did think that she came off as false and strange for the longest time. I came out of this thinking it's remarkable how normal she is, considering how normal her life isn't.
Mm.
So yes, that was Miss Americana on Netflix, which I watched last night.
Okay, but Graham, do you think that film is going to be a success, or will it bomb Ballerina?
There is not a single mention of cats in Miss Americana.
They can all be thankful for that.
I'm not. I want to know everything about the production of Cats.
Yeah. Speaking of musicals, do my eyes deceive me, or is there a version of West Side Story coming out this year?
Oh, there is, yes.
Is there?
Yeah. And not only that, I also am horrified to discover, and also, well, I'm concerned, worried, a little bit excited. Hopefully, they'll recapture the magic. But there's Coming to America too.
What?
Yes, I heard that's coming out.
There's
Yes.
a sequel to Coming to America.
Very excited.
Huh. Well, Eddie
Excellent.
Murphy's had a bit of positive press recently.
Yeah.
Dolomite is My Name is an
He might
amazing
play his
film.
own original dad.
Yeah,
Maybe. Yeah. Huh.
Dolomite is My Name is a great film.
I should watch that, yes.
Yeah, I've started watching it.
I've greatly enjoyed his monologue on when he hosted Saturday Night Live, when he revisited the feud he had with Bill Cosby and said,
Yeah.
looking back on this, I'm now a happily married, loving father, and he's in jail, so...
Snoop Dogg came out in support of Bill Cosby yesterday on Instagram.
I realise he's pretty stoned, but he has to be able to react to things a bit faster than that.
Or Uncle Bill, as he called him. Well, a film I watched lately.
I'm going to hope that because it's Snoop Dogg, it's equally as likely that that was a typo and he meant Bing.
Yes, I remembered I have watched a film, and I watched Arrival of a Train by the Lumiere brothers with the 4K update. And I thought, do you know what? It's actually really good.
It is. It's really impressive how they've fixed it up, especially compared to the original, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks much more real, even though it's black and white and it's Victorian.
Have we accidentally done a film of the week here?
Yeah, I think we've stumbled upon a 1 minute long film of the week.
And that's what I think makes Literary Loitering so great, listeners. If you're not a regular listener, it's the effort we put in.
I have actually seen a normal film as well.
Oh.
And it is 2011's film called Tomboy by Celine Sciamma, who has recently directed a portrait of a lady on fire.
Yes.
And she also did Girlhood. And this sort of follows the story of a 10-year-old girl who dresses as a boy and isn't evidently showing signs of being female yet. And it's a really interesting discussion about what makes gender, actually. Because she acts like all the boys and she fights really well and she plays football and those things are associated with the boys. And she cuts her hair short and she's able to run around and do more tough things. And it's really beautifully captured. It's allowed to just flow and be natural and breathe. There's such a such a lightness of touch, and the actors are allowed to just sort of express themselves. I think they've probably got an idea, and obviously they've had some direction, but it just feels so gentle and natural. The little girl who plays her little sister is so adorable. And she's trying to keep a secret and she cuts her hair for her and it's just lovely. It's a lovely film.
Awesome.
Highly recommended.
So that leaves Andrew then, doesn't it?
just me left. So, coincidentally, I have also watched an film.
Oh, wow. Who'd have thunk?
Wow.
This was actually one of the films that got mentioned on I think not maybe the one before last Cinema Eclectica.
Ah.
It's Harpoon.
Oh, good. Yes.
The 2019 horror comedy film written and directed by Rob Grant, starring...
Not that one.
Not that Rob Grant.
No, no.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's... Actually, you know what? For once, I feel like Rotten Tomatoes summary basically hits on the head exactly how I feel about this film.
Yeah.
Which is that it's a B movie with an A-level commitment to entertain.
That's good. I like that.
Nice
Yes.
review.
It is, because it's this very kind of quite schlocky setup of three people who are technically friends
Yeah.
to go out kind of on a yacht into the middle of the ocean, realize that maybe actually they kind of hate each other and want to kill each other,
Yes.
and then find out they're stranded in the middle of the ocean.
And it does all of that with, I mean, when you describe it, it sounds like it might be a slow-burning, tense character drama. It does that with surprising lack of subtlety, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, literally the start of the film is one of the friends kicking his way into the other friend's house and repeatedly punching him in the face.
Yes.
That's
And
just...
things get worse from there.
I was going to say, that's just a solid male friendship right there.
Just guys being guys.
Exactly.
Doing guy stuff.
Look, there's Steve. Let's beat him up.
Just guy stuff.
But yeah, I do like this. It's not so much the idea of like the slow burn of watching relationships slowly fall apart, so much as no, this is three people who very much hate each other, and now they're in a situation where they can either like try and band together, or they will all just die.
Yes.
And it's like it's just the fact that it's got all these little touches that, but I don't want to say like make it better than it has any right to be. But it's not the kind of thing you'd expect from, well, I believe you said it's a straight to DVD film, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, but just it's the way it's got like thought put into it. Like the film has this narrator who is not one of the characters in the film. They're just kind of a
omniscient kind of wise ass.
Rod Serling.
It's quite Serling-y, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got him like explaining things like sort of maritime traditions and why, because of superstition, they're completely screwed.
Yes.
Just like one of the characters put his left foot on the boat first. Another character has red hair.
And that's his character.
I love that the last one of those is, and also you should never take someone called Jonah on board a ship.
No, classic mistake. Classic error.
Actually, I think my favourite one of those, though, is him explaining that it's terrible luck to kill, like, just a seagull or really any kind of seabird.
Yeah.
As one of the characters chucks a rock into the air, smacks a seagull in the face, and it comes crashing down onto the boat.
Yes, that's the second film I've seen this month that has that as a plot point, because it's also in The Lighthouse.
Oh man, I need to see The Lighthouse at some point.
The Lighthouse is pretty special because it's, you know, you could play this sort of material with a bit of irony, or you could do it with a sort of modern sensibility that freshens it up. Or you could have Willem Dafoe angrily pointing his pipe at Robert Pattinson, going, "'Twas ye! 'Twas ye!" Like actually Tom Baker in Blackadder the Second.
Yeah, I heard The Lighthouse is one of those films where the tone of the film changes depending on what background music you play. So if it's like the Benny Hill theme tune in the background, when he's going to "'Twas ye, 'twas ye," it's a completely different tone.
It also made me wonder if someone has told Robert Pattinson that masturbation is meant to relieve stress, not the other way.
And for the second literary loitering in a row, we have sexy Robert Pattinson.
I think he's part of the show now.
Yes. He's our mascot.
Yes. What if we got actual Robert Pattinson on the show?
Oh,
God. I mean, he's been doing some pretty random stuff recently. He'd probably do
I
this.
wouldn't rule it out. Right. So, what we doing next?
Quiz.
Yeah.
Quiz.
Whenever we can, we like to end literary loitering with a quiz.
Yes, and I made a quiz by accident about foreign names for famous films. So, are you
I was going to
guys?
say that saying we do it every literary loitering implies a level of planning that we certainly do not have.
No, but foreign names of famous films is what I made because subconsciously I must have remembered we were doing a takeover episode. But yeah, so I have 20 films. They will be quick, don't worry.
Okay.
Right, 20 films. I'll give you the foreign name. I want you to give me what film it is.
Ooh.
Okay.
Right. So, some of them are very easy. Some of them are very famous. You'll know them straight away. So, starting at the beginning. From France, we have The Teeth from the Sea.
Jaws.
Yes. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Jaws.
I can't think of a funny wrong answer. So yeah, it's Jaws.
Okay, from China, we have A Very Powerful Whale Runs to Heaven.
Free Willy?
Let's think. What late period Marlon Brando film could that be? Nah, it's Free Willy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably Free Willy.
Yep, points all round again. From Hungary, The Eighth Passenger. Death.
The eighth passenger. Death. Oh, Magnificent Seven?
Nope.
No, I think I know what it is. I'm just trying to think of. Can I think of any other fun answer?
While he has a think, I'll say Final Destination.
Nope.
Oh.
Interesting. Because what I thought it was Final Destination.
Ah.
Shall I give you a clue?
Is it Sliding Doors?
No, it's
Is
not.
it Speed?
No, it's science fiction.
The Love Boat.
No. Shall I just tell you?
Go on.
Alien. From Italy, Please Don't Touch the Old Women.
The Italian Batman film where there's a moustache and rides a bicycle.
A rule which Italian men will immediately break.
Please don't touch the old women.
Super Mario Bros. The movie.
The Graduate.
Not The Graduate either.
None's on the Run.
Nope.
Oh no! Is it Calendar Girls?
No.
Oh, good guess though.
It was a good guess. It was actually The Producers.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, it's not the plot point I would pick out to sell it.
It's not the central core of the film, is it?
Okay, I'm going to have to give you a clue on this one before I actually tell you what it is. Right,
Okay.
This is from Spain, and it is a Vin Diesel movie, right?
Okay.
And in Spain, they call it the Super Hard Kangaroo.
It's Vin Diesel and Kangaroo Jack.
No.
Are Spanish people very, very confused about what animal Rocket Raccoon is meant to be?
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the Marvel franchise. This is a film that Vin Diesel did. It's a comedy action film.
Is it Saving Private Ryan?
No.
I don't know. I feel like you can kind of jump pretty far in the Fast and Furious films.
It's not a Fast and Furious films.
I don't know whether I've ever seen a Vin Diesel film. The Nanny? Is that one?
Oh,
only-
Sarah. You're so close. You're so
Oh.
close.
A babysitter.
Still so close.
Oh God! Where the one where he looks after kids?
Yeah, I'll give you the point, Sarah.
Yeah, he's got the kids in
Yeah,
the...
I'll give you the point. It's the pacifier.
Right.
What does it have to do with kangaroos? I've not
Nobody
seen it.
knows. So, anyway, from Germany, I think I've been kicked by a horse.
John Wick 3.
The Hangover.
Nope.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
Side approach there.
Although the Hangover kind of is on the right track.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
The
Okay.
Hangover Part 2.
No. Older than the Hangover.
Right, okay.
Shall I tell you?
Go on.
Yeah.
National Lampoon's Animal House.
Ah.
Right, the horse scene.
From the Czech Republic, Santa is a pervert.
Great. Bad Santa?
Yes.
Ah.
All right. From Norway, Action Skyscraper.
Is it Die Hard?
Oh, yeah. That
Yeah,
could be Die
that was
Hard,
Die Hard.
It could only be Die Hard. From Israel, The Gun Died Laughing, which sounds like a bizarre James Bond title, but it's got nothing to do with Bond.
It's a
Who
good title.
Framed Roger Rabbit?
No.
Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid?
Oh,
Nope.
What an awesome film. I love that film.
Yes.
Oh, is it Naked Gun?
Well done, Andrew.
Good choice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. From China, his great device makes him powerful.
Wow, that could be a lot of films, couldn't it? Up to
Oh,
and
wait,
including.
no, I actually know what this one is.
Is it
So-
Spooky Nights?
It is Boogie Nights, isn't it?
Yes, it
What?
is.
Like jaw cancer.
That is actually correct. From Japan, quite a literal title, I'm drunk and you're a prostitute.
Pretty Woman?
Yeah,
No.
that's a Pretty Woman, isn't it?
Nope.
Leaving
Oh,
Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Yes.
Uh,
From Sweden, hey, where are the babies?
Home Alone.
Rugrats the movie.
Nope.
oh, what's that one? Look Who's Talking?
Nope.
Village of the Damned.
See, I'm not sure how babies...
Oh no. Is it Children of Men?
No. No. But...
Sleeper?
Nope. It's Swingers.
Oh.
What?
Exactly.
What? Where are the babies?
From Argentina, Vaseline. That's all it's called is Vaseline.
Brokeback Mountain.
Nope.
It's risky business because that's what he smears along the floor so we can do the sliding.
Nope.
What's that one with Elizabeth Berkley?
Nope, not that one either.
Showgirls.
Yeah, it's not that one either.
Magic Mike?
Andrew kind of, when he's talking about making things slippery, he's kind of on the right track.
Flubber?
Nope. It is a one-word title, though. Very famous film.
One word title about things being slippery. Shohei Imamura's The Eel.
Shall I tell you?
I think you might have to.
Grease.
Ah.
Oh, how did we not get that?
All right, from Hong Kong, Mr. Cat Poop.
Is it Cats?
No. I still don't know how this one relates to the actual title.
If it was Mrs. Cat Poop, it would be Can You Ever Forgive Me, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But it's Mr. Cat Poop, so
It's...
Flubber.
I'll give you a clue with this one. It's a Jack Nicholson movie.
It's a what?
It's a Jack Nicholson movie.
As good as it gets.
Oh, good as it gets.
Well done.
Yeah.
I love how we
He has a
all as good as it gets as all that makes sense.
Exactly. From Germany, and I love this title. This is one of the best titles for a film I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Floppy coppers don't bite.
Oh, I think. Oh no,
Police Academy.
Police Academy.
no, it's the Disney one. Is it Zootopia? Is that what it's called?
Nope.
As in, it's a different film, or that's not what the
It's a
film is
different
called?
film.
Okay.
It is a
it
police
Bad
film.
Lieutenant?
No, it is a police film. You're right, it's a police film. No, it's not Bad Lieutenant.
Bad Boys.
It's a
Bad
comedy
Lieutenant.
police film.
Hot Fuzz?
No, so close though.
Floppy coppers don't. I say that like it's some kind of riddle, and I can just decipher it.
Shall I tell you?
Yeah.
It was Dan Aykroyd before he went nuts. It was Dragnet.
Right. Yes.
This one should be fairly easy.
Yeah.
From Israel, it's raining falafel.
Cloudy with a chance of
Chance of
meatballs.
Yeah.
Yep. This one, I think, is quite famous from Japan. Captain Supermarket.
Oh, yes. Yeah. This is Army of Darkness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
From Mexico, Pigs and Diamonds.
Pigs and Diamonds. Snatch?
Good guess, Graham.
Yeah.
Well done. So anyway.
What?
Sorry?
Really? Was it?
Yeah, Snatch.
Oh, good.
So penultimate one, from Poland, Electronic Murderer.
I don't know, but I want to see it.
It's, Lawnmower Man,
Nope.
The Terminator.
Well done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, he's not really. I guess he's kind of electronic, isn't he?
Yeah. It's better than my guess, which was going to be Steve Jobs.
okay, final one. I think Graham's basically won this one.
I mean, I think there's been quite a few where we've all said the right answer.
I know. But I get the feeling Graham's a little bit ahead, even though I lost count of the scores ages ago. From Portugal, the final one, and this is also in memory of Brexit. Multinationals go home.
Multinationals go home.
Laundromat?
Nope.
Local hero.
Nope.
Oh, good guess.
Nationals.
Supersize Me.
Nope.
United Passions, the FIFA movie.
No. It is I Heart Huckabees.
I mean, to say of course would imply that I understand what was going on in I Heart Huckabees.
Exactly.
Oh, wow, that was good. So before we close up, we should do one Eclectica feature because I think people are expecting us to do a roundup of what's out next week. On Wednesday, the 19th of February, Disney have a new version of The Call of the Wild, which has Harrison Ford, Karen Gillan, and a dog.
Oh, Karen Gill is just going to walk around pouting, going, "Doctor." That's what she always does.
I don't know. She was all right in. What was it?
The
Jumanji. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, I think she's very good, and I'll not hear this slander.
Yeah.
And she's pretty good as Nebula in the Marvel stuff.
I like Karen Gillan. I would pay to see her scowl and say "Doctor" at a dog. We have a film whose title is just causing me so much stress. It's Brahms: The Boy 2.
Sorry, when you said Brahms colon, I was getting worried where it was going.
It's a film.
That's how you know you've made it in the music biz, when you can afford a boy for your colon.
Oh God! Oh, what was that film where?
On before any of us makes any unfortunate allegations.
No, you remember that song "A Girl for All Seasons"? I can't remember what the musical was.
God,
For some reason,
no.
the music from that went to "Boy for Your Cola."
Enough.
I think we didn't cut that.
We have the first Michael Winterbottom in movie in ages that's made me think, that might be good. It's Greed, starring Steve Coogan as a very thinly veiled version of Philip Green and David Mitchell as his biographer.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
We've got Like a Boss, where all I know about it is that it has Tiffany Haddish, Rose Byrne, and Salma Hayek, and they are presumably about to do things in the manner of a boss.
I think I might have seen a trailer for this.
I'm taking it from your tone of voice that it did not look great.
I don't know. I might be biased by The Kitchen because that didn't work out well.
Yes, yeah. Listeners, she means the film starring Tiffany Haddish, not just a kitchen that one of them owns that just didn't work out for you. And we've got a film that I'm really quite curious about that opened at Cannes last year, in which Jessica Hausner, the director of Amour Fou and Lurds, makes her English language debut with Little Joe, in which Emily Beecham, Ben Whishaw, and Kerry Fox invent a sort of mood-altering plant that takes over people's brains.
Kerry Fox? Haven't seen her for ages.
This sounds like solid B-movie fare. I'm in.
It does. It's quite odd that the maker of astringent Austrian satires has been given her shot at the big league and gone, Dave the Triffids it is. But it does look pretty creepy and interesting. And yeah, like you say, Kerry Fox is great, isn't she?
Yeah,
but I mean, given the way you described it wouldn't be Triffids, it'd be Trippids, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's good. Dave the Triffids, yes, very fond of that. I've just realised I've spent all this time reading out the releases for the show that we're doing now. Because I'm an idiot, so let's do the actual ones I should have been saying.
I mean, I'm sure I will be equally as confused as I am now.
Yes. So next week we're having a photo negative show because there's a lot of stuff out. It starts off with Richard Stanley coming back to direct the H.P. Lovecraft adaptation The Colour Out of Space with Nicolas Cage.
It's purple.
It is. The Colour Out of Space is purple. We have Todd Haynes' new film, Dark Waters, starring Mark Ruffalo, Anne Hathaway, and Tim Robbins.
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be good. I like Mark Ruffalo.
He's great, isn't he? He's lovely.
Yeah.
We have Downhill, which is a remake of Ruben Östlund's Force Majeure, starring Will Ferrell, because of course it is.
What's it about?
It's about a family who believe they're about to be in an avalanche. It turns out to be harmless, but they are perturbed by the fact that the father of the family just ran away from them as soon as they saw it coming downhill.
Oh, is that the one where he kind of just grabs his phone and books it?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that looks pretty fun when I've seen the trailers for it.
We have a film I'm looking forward to. Justin Cazale, the director of Snowtown, Macbeth, and it pains me to say Assassin's Creed, has returned both to Australia and to quality with an adaptation of Peter Carey's classic novel, The True History of the Kelly Gang. We have Lee Winnell, him what did Saw back in 1876, with a new take on The Invisible Man, starring Elizabeth Moss and Storm Reid, neither of whom are men, both of whom appear to be visible. And we have the film Sarah was talking about earlier, Portrait of a Lady on Fire by Celine Sciamma. So we will be covering some of those next week, but at the top of the show we'll also have a director's lottery. So would whoever has the randomizer like to fire it up?
Yes, 61.
61. That is... Oh, nice. Paolo Sorrentino. Very happy with that. That's
And what
Paolo
did he do?
Sorrentino, who is probably most famous for his Oscar winner, The Great Beauty, who also did... he's done 2 biopics of corrupt Italian prime ministers. That's just his turf. One of which was Berlusconi, The Family Friend, The Consequences of Love. He also did the TV series The Young Pope, about a pope. What's young?
Oh, the one with Jude Law?
Yes.
As the young pope?
As playing the titular young pope, yes. So that's a pretty rich set of stuff we could choose from, and I think we will consult some of the people who were going to be on that show and work out what's happening closer to the time. But until then, this has been Literary Eclectica. I've been Graham.
I've been Sarah.
Go ahead, Sarah. You go
I'm
first.
just starting off on the way we were introduced.
Yeah.
I've been Andrew. Surprise.
Yeah, it's a true literary loitering show once we all stumble over each other's names.
I've been Rob.
They've been Rob and Sarah. Jesus Christ. That's your lot. Go away.
That was Andrew and Graham and Rob.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
I've been Andrew.